All right, welcome back to another episode of the In Between Overs podcast. We're your host of the day's play. I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishan.
What did we just see? Is this another pitch that they just placed in at Perth? What's going on?
17 wickets on day one and only three-ish today? What happened? Is this, I don't know. What's going to happen tomorrow? So much to talk about. But day two, great day for Test cricket, Tron. What do you think?
Oh yeah, what a day for India. The rumor has it BCCI shipped in a pitch so that India will have a great batting day. I mean, I'm not I can see that happening. I could see that happening. You never know. But man, all the demons that were in day one, it they just left. It's like they just withered away with the wind, and now you have a batting paradise, or at least what looks like a batting paradise. And India seems to be in the front seat, and Australia is not looking very good right now. The body language in the field, heads are down. They're sort of chirping each other with that drop catch from Kavaja. Yeah, this super interesting day of how it panned out, and India seemed to be ahead.
Yeah, no, especially, India cleaning up Australia, did have a good stand. I know we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But India's batting, KL Rahul, Jaiswal, classic test match batting. It was nice to see them respect the pitch and play, proper, as what people would say, old school test match cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. So the day started with Australia seven down, and we discussed yesterday how India would want to wrap up the innings pretty quickly, and they did. There was a little bit of a fight back from Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood at the end there, where they dogged around for at least what was it, a couple hours, about 15 overs or so. They didn't score a lot of runs, but they hung in there, and it really paved the path to show that hey, if you dug deep on this wicket, you can score runs.
Exactly. I think as the Australian lower order was batting and for that prolonged period of time, I understand it was potentially frustrating for the Indian bowlers, but I do feel KL Rahul and Jaiswal were looking at the pitch, looking at how the ball was reacting, and felt a little more comfortable when compared to yesterday. And I think also that stand that Australia had at the end kind of shifted the game kind of shifted the momentum because before the game was crazy, wickets flying, no one's really settled. But then the pace of the game drastically shifted during that stand, which I think, in my opinion, was beneficial for the Indians because that sort of allowed them to like, okay, let's take a deep breath and let's settle down and let's get a good lead.
Yeah, I think that showed the team what it takes to bat on that wicket, because the wickets, I mean, the way it went before that, the way the day started, it started with a wicket right away with Bumrah getting his fifer. Shout out to him. What a start to the tour for him. And then a couple wickets. No, it was Carey, and then it was Lyon right after within a couple overs. And you thought that India is going to have a lead of like 70, 75. And then you had that partnership that held it down for a bit, and they threatened to get closer to India's target, but luckily there was a mistimed shot and the innings was wrapped up. So India started with a lead of 46. Was it 46? Yeah, it was around 40 something, 40 something. And then we had the Jaiswal and KL Rahul show.
Incredible batting. I know, I think Rahul sort of carried on his form from the first innings. A little controversy on his first out here, but he was in good touch then, and he's in good touch now. And Jaiswal, obviously, sitting on that duck of zero in Australia, really, I think pulled his socks together and then really, changed the way he batted. He is a stroke player. He likes his shots, but he was batting initially. I think before T, he was batting, at like a 20-30% strike rate, so very low. And then after T is when he really laid it at it. So he respected the conditions. Honestly, India has time. They can take time. So why not?
Yeah. What we saw was classical test match batting. This is, and I'm sure you would agree, this is what we grew up watching. This is what we saw in the 90s, in the thousands, where the run rate's 3 and over, which is exactly what India is scoring at. They're respecting the good balls. They're trying to rotate the strike, hit the bad balls away. They're not trying to manufacture any shots. They're just playing proper test match batting, and it was a joy to watch. As someone growing up, I remember as a kid, coming from school and laying on the ground in front of my little 13-inch TV that we had and watching Test match batting. That is what I remember watching, and that is exactly what we saw.
No, I know. Exactly right. And this, I think, was exemplified by looking at Hazelwood's overs. India respected the hell out of him. I think maybe less than 10 runs over his 9 or 10 overs. Uh,
Yep,
Incredible bowling
he
from
was
him,
unplayable.
unplayable, unplayable. I think I was reading a tweet. It was like, he is the hardest mode on like a cricket FC game. If you were to play a cricket FC game hardest mode, it would be Hazelwood in Perth. He is super hard, very accurate, and India respected him. And that's what you're supposed to do in those scenarios.
Yeah, yeah. Josh Hazelwood, you could literally take the pitch away and just have a patch on good length, and he will hit it. You could have
Every single
grass
time.
all over, and there's a patch right on good length, and he will hit that every single time. And kudos to the Indian batsman to play him out and not fall to him, because man, he was unplayable. Five maidens, 9 runs in 10 overs, insane.
You gotta give the flowers to Hazelwood. Incredible bowling. I think he's Western Australian as well. So shout out to him and shout out to Western Australia. But incredible bowling, and India respected that. What you had to do. I think was also interesting to see. I think Australia used six, 7 or 8 bowlers. I think you
Yeah,
saw you saw. So
my
they
man
went really at
Marnus
it.
Marnus Labuschagne. I didn't know this guy bowled medium pace, his speeds. He hit 135. I was
He
like, no
did.
way, this guy's bowling 135.
And he was bowling bouncers, so his plan was clear, and so
Yeah,
it was nice to see from an entertainment perspective. But that just shows that Australia was willing to throw the kitchen sink in getting a breakthrough, but India was not biting.
yeah, yeah. There was a funny comment made on commentary by I think it was Howie, one of the Australian commentators, and he said that when Marnus bowls a leg spin, he calls himself Rashid Marn. Classic
I
Marnus.
I
Classic.
absolutely love that. I absolutely. Yeah, yeah. No, no. There was the calm's been great. The cricket's been great, as well as the banter in the field. I'm sure you've
Yeah.
seen Jaiswal to Stark to Rana when he was bowling.
Dr. Rana, I pulled faster
Ra-
than you. I pulled faster than you, mate.
I got a long memory, and I'm not sure you caught it. Someone mentioned it after. Stark said to Rana, "You have to bat still. Don't worry, you still have to bat."
I missed that one. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, because Rana and Stark, they go back to KKR days, right? They
KKR,
play together
KKR
with
days.
KKR. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
So it was interesting, and then there was another instance of Jaiswal batting. This was with Manas. Jaiswal was teasing him outside of his crease with Manas. I think he was at slip with the ball, so he's teasing him of like, oh, I'm outside the crease, you can throw it. And then Manas was also playing along. And nice to see that in the test match as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great days of cricket for sure. It's not that Australia were bowling badly. They were bowling good. It's just that India really batted well. And again, I can't say it enough. This is how test match batting should be done. Right? This is what you enjoy watching. This is what helps you score runs on tough wickets too. You have to grind it out there. There's a reason why it's called test match. There's a reason why it goes for 5 days. There's a reason why there's unlimited overs for the bowlers, because it's a test. It's a test of your ability to bat for long periods of time. That's what it's about. And I was so happy to see that. And I'm so happy for the two batsmen. Jaiswal came in under a little bit of pressure, first time
He
in
did.
Australia, right? There's a lot of hype behind him. 22 years, he's looked at the next prodigy in Indian cricket. The whole world is watching him, and everyone has high expectations and curious to see how he's going to perform. And second innings lives up to expectations. Maybe looking at 100 here.
No, and it would be a great 100. I think it would be one of the hundreds that he would remember for a long time, even at the end of his career. Just how he was able to pace himself and how he was able to sort of a step back from his natural play of just continuous stroke play. And then, you cannot miss to mention KL Rahul. You ask him 8 months ago, he was India's number 6. Now he's opening in Australia. Probably would not have imagined that. Played great in the first innings comparatively to a grand total of 150, and now as well, leading from the front. And really seeing, and doing the opener's job of seeing the ball, seeing the new
Yeah.
ball,
Doing the
you
dirty
know,
work. Doing
doing
the
doing
dirty
the
work.
dirty
The
work.
ultimate team man. You ask him to bat anywhere, this guy just says yes. He doesn't like it feels like he doesn't give any pushback. You want me to bat at 6? Okay. You want me to open? Okay. You want me to go one down? Okay. You want me to keep wickets? I'm down. Like this guy's done it all.
No, literally, and I think that is just goes to show what his technical prowess because only a player who is technically great can bat 1 to 6, for example, and
Yeah,
that's Gail Rahul. I think he's
yeah,
been underrated. I know people talk about his average of around, I think it's around 33. Numbers, of course, tell a story, but also taking a step back, he's had great innings for India, which is why they rely on him to perform in these big matches, which he's done today in my eyes.
yeah. And numbers are not everything. You have to put in
Ex-
perspective that KL Rahul has been in and out of the team. Part of it his fault, part of it not because of injuries and things like that. I can't remember him having a long run for the Indian team. Right? He's always been chopping and changing, shuffling in the order, right? So I'm so happy for him that he's got some runs because I think there's no doubt that he's cemented his spot for the series at least the next couple test matches until the end of the third test. I'd say they'll probably revisit for the last couple tests, but he sealed his spot. I think not at opening because I know Rohit's going to come back.
Interesting stuff coming back. Rohit
Yeah,
Gill as well.
Gill's coming back. So who are you going to drop? I mean, Padikkal hasn't batted yet in the second innings. It'll be tough if he scores some runs, but right now, as it stands, it looks like KL Rahul is going to keep his place, and then Jurel is probably going to. He's probably the incumbent here because KL Rahul is probably going to fall back to six for sure.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. You know, he looked great opening, but Sir Captain's on his way back. I think he should be landing anytime soon.
Sir Captain.
Sir Captain.
Well, you know what they say, right? When guys come back from maternity or birth of their child, they usually do better. So I'm happy that he's coming back because you could say that, hey, I think we're fine with KL Rahul, but no, we need
And
Rohit.
people have been saying that, and people have
Yeah,
been saying that, like, things are working fine. Why change it when it's not going well? But let's be real. It could have been we could it could be a collapse, but you always have to rely on what's already been pre-established by the think tank, because the think tank knows best, right? So if it was decided before the series that Rohit Sharma would captain and open, then it just you have to do that because that creates a sense of stability and reassurance to everyone, right?
yeah. So what are your thoughts on Australia's performance in the field in general? Did you feel like they weren't the Australia of the old? They didn't chirp as much or get under the opposition's skin. It seemed like their body language just got it deteriorated as the day went along, and there seems to be now miles getting put into those legs as well, which is showing in the ease at which India scored some of the runs on the back end of the day. So, what are your thoughts on that on Australia's performance?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because you compare the performance in the first innings and you're like, oh, classic, what you would not have, it's classic Australian bowling, all out India 150. But now in the second innings, we're questioning their fitness and their ability. I think from a bowling perspective, I think they were bowling fine. I think
Yeah,
obviously it was long spells, long overs, and that,
yeah,
that does show, but that's typical of Test match cricket. And
yeah.
that you have to give credit to the batters for that. But one thing which they could definitely, in my eyes, improve on, which I think they are capable of, is to what you were, I believe, alluding to, is that aggression or
That
that or
Aussie
that
aggression, that
that
under the skin mentality.
exactly. You set those attacking fields, get under the skin, even go for the runouts, throw the balls at the bails,
Yeah,
make sure the Indians are working for their doubles, make sure
yeah,
that, they know every time there's a double, the ball will come to the non-strikers end or the strikers end at the given time, right? So that was missing. And then it was also disappointing to see the body language after, for example, Kawaja's drop. You could sense that, they were potentially blaming Kawaja. They were, potentially just like out of it in that moment.
yeah,
Disappointing, but the slips weren't even talking as well. Smith was just doing Smith things of just looking around, one hand on his chin. It was a little disappointing. A little disappointing.
yeah.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. They whenever you think about Australia, you think about chirping, getting under the batter's skin. You can hear stuff over the stump mic, right? Something like what Stark was doing earlier against Rana. But I felt like as the day went along on with the partnership not breaking and the two batsmen not moving and scoring freely as the day went along, it seemed like they just reduced the amount of talk and the heads were down and they didn't have that same energy.
No, no, exactly, exactly. Definitely be interesting how they'll bounce back. What are your thoughts though on the next few days of play? And what I wanted to actually ask you was, how do you think the pitch would react now? Because a lot of people are talking about tomorrow being a much warmer day. The cracks may be appearing. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know because I did not see this coming for day two. I did not expect it to
Exactly.
ease up the way it did. It literally was a different pitch.
It looked
And
like completely different.
it was shocking. So I honestly don't know what to expect. Maybe we get another day of good battle test match cricket, ball versus bat. I think that will be great for the audience and for the game as well. So hopefully we get that and not a string of wickets again. But you never know now. Like what's gonna happen? I have no idea.
Yeah, you never know how the morning's gonna react. The morning may allow for a little bit more favorable conditions, and then
Depends on the
boom.
ball too though. The ball's on the older side, so maybe the second new ball might do something.
That's true as well. That's true as well. And test match cricket, I think on any side as well, you always have to keep in the back of your mind that a collapse is always a potential. Is always a potential. One good spell, one good bowling attack, or one good bowling partnership can really switch the game up. But one more thing that I wanted to bring as well. I know yesterday's podcast we talked about India going for a lead of 200. We
Yeah.
thought that was a good amount.
Oh
What are
yes.
your thoughts now?
Yeah, completely changed now. And again, I don't know now. I don't know. I feel they have to get just the way they batted and the way the pitch was looking. They'd probably have to get closer to 400 now.
I know. I'm saying try batting the whole day again.
Yeah. Yeah, the time is not a problem, right? You bat the whole day, you score at 3 and over, 90 overs in a day, you put up another say 250, 270 runs. You're looking at a lead of over 400.
Yeah, and I think at that point you'll have your bowlers with 2 days of rest,
Yeah.
right? Which is a big thing.
And the Aussie batsman being in the field for 2 days.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, right? So you have that combination, which could potentially lead to a favorable result for India. But then again, after seeing the material difference from day one pitch to day two, God knows, maybe this time the Australian groundskeeper will add a different drop in pitch.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, that's the excitement of Test match cricket and we can't wait for day 3. That's a good place to end it right there. We'll see you on day 3. That's Stumps for today.